Good morning, everyone. Oh my goodness, I'm not so sure how to begin today. We have so much that we're going to pack into this live, and you are going to be totally amazed at the uh, different techniques that we are going to play with today and work with today. We have new mediums, we have new techniques, and then we also have a brand new project. So I know you're going to love it. Be sure to say hi to Lindsay. She's sitting there answering all the questions. And let us know where you're coming in from. We always enjoy seeing where in the world. What is that? Where's Waldo?
Where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
Where in the
If
world?
that's what you're thinking of.
Okay.
That's from my childhood.
Yes, we used to play that a lot. So I know we're going to have a lot of fun today. And I was debating on how to put all of this in a short capsule. So hang on, buckle your seatbelts. This is going to be a fun ride.
We have Marlene joining us, and I know she's from Tennessee. She didn't say she was from Tennessee, but I
Hi,
know she's
Marlene from Tennessee.
Kathy from Northwest Ohio.
Hi, Kathy.
Lisa, good morning. Nicole from Arizona. Sharon from just up the road.
Yeah.
Not really, but
Well,
kind of.
compared to Arizona, yes.
Compared to Arizona, yes. Good morning, Kathy from North Carolina.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful day here in Ohio.
It is.
It's going to be a beautiful week. It's Lindsay summer weather. It's in the 70s and cool and breezy
Cool at night.
and not crisp summer weather where it's hot. And
85.
yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
supposed to be in the 70s for like this next 2 weeks. I'm ecstatic because I know it's coming.
Yes.
I know the heat's coming, and I'll go hermit and stay in the house.
Oh.
So, good morning, Mary from Minnesota and Bonnie from Oklahoma City.
Thank you all for joining us. We have, like I said, we have a lot to cover today, and the techniques are truly amazing. I learned a lot, so hopefully you'll be able to glean some information from this and get some ideas to what we're doing today. You can use these to embellish any project, and I think that's what's exciting about trying new techniques is that it doesn't just do one thing. You can take it into different areas of painting and just add that super wow factor. I think that's what we're all looking for, is that wow factor that everybody's going, wow, you made that. Yes, I did. So,
Hello, Ann from West Virginia.
hi, Ann.
Or as Jen used to say, West by God.
Yeah.
That's what Jen used to call it because that's where she's from. Hello, Brenda from South Carolina. All right, we're going to go ahead. Since we got a little bit to cover, we're going to flip the camera.
Okay. So am I in the camera screen?
No, you need to move it up. Up. There you go.
Okay. So this is a project I was playing around with, and literally playing around with. It has so much packed into it that when you look at it, you have to look at it for quite a while to see all of the different elements. But I love how they work together. And this is I love these deep, rich, earthy color palette, but you can use any color. And with the products we're working with today, it's so easy to change and switch into a different color. So keep an open mind as we're painting this. If this is not your color palette, oh my goodness, just switch it up and it will be beautiful no matter what you do. Okay, so this is a kit that we put together. There's 3 different birdhouses. There's a little star, a bird with a wing, and a base. So all of these pieces come together. Just makes it easy if you want to get the whole kit to get the bundle together. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And what I'm working with first today is a product called Make It Thick. Do I need to zoom in a little?
No, you're good.
Okay, Make It Thick. I wasn't real sure about this. And what's so fun about this, it takes any paint, and makes it thick, almost like an oil paint. And I mixed this up earlier. And you can see how thick and beautiful that is. I was afraid that if I mixed it up and tried to use it right away, that it wouldn't be thick enough. the whole concept behind Make It Thick is it takes about 20 minutes for it to thicken up. And the ratio is 8:1. So if we do 8 drops of, I'm going to just squirt that on here because I was impressed at how quickly it starts to thicken. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. This is bleach sand, and I'm going to put 1 drop of Make It Thick. So if I'm using 1 drop with all of this paint, you know it's going to go a long, long way. Just going to put 1 little drop in the center. And you can use a brush, but I like to use a palette knife. I think it mixes it just a little bit more quickly. Almost immediately, you can see it starts to, can you see how that starts to thicken up? And as time goes on, it becomes even thicker. So this is my fresh puddle. Oh my gosh, this reminds me, I was an oil painter back in the day. This reminds me of thickened oil paint. This one I did probably about 40 minutes ago. So you can see how much thicker this is. Today's project, I wanted to create texture, and I'll show this again. Create this beautiful design. I love how this turned out. Absolutely gorgeous.
Really quick, can you show the base on that? Because someone did ask if it stands. It is a standing
Yes,
item.
it is a standing, this is the base. So it is a standing piece.
Yeah.
So I am going to just do a little demo on and I painted this black. You can make it thick any color. So if I wanted to make this black, it would definitely be gorgeous, but it wouldn't show up on camera. So I'm using contrast to create that color. And I want to anchor this down. So when you're using a stencil and you're going to add medium over top of the stencil, if you anchor it down, there's less possibility of that stencil shifting and moving. You want those clean, crisp edges. So if I anchor it down, it's not going to move around on me. And I can try to hold it with my hand, but I don't have much luck with that. So I am going to scoop up a bit of this medium on my palette knife. I'm going to spread it across the stencil, almost like spreading peanut butter across a slice of bread. And I'm not going to overspread. I like using a palette knife because I have really nice control. If you work it too much, there's a chance that it could slide under. And that's about all the medium I mixed up earlier. Okay, ready for the big reveal here. Is that gorgeous? Oh my goodness. Okay, remember, clean your stencil because if this dries on there, it's going to be really difficult to clean it up later. I am just going to, for the sake of time, because I forget, just going to put that down, take a baby wipe, clean that heaviness off of there. And then I'll do a deeper clean later. I'll put it in the sink, use a gentle cleaner on it, and get all of that medium off of there. We do not want that to set up on your stencil. So once we have this on here, you have to remember this is a thick medium. It's going to take a little bit longer to dry. So just for time's sake, I went ahead and added the texture to the birdhouse pieces. This is bleach sand. I base coated it. I put the medium on there. Can you see it, Lindsay?
No, you'll have to hold it up to the camera. I wouldn't zoom in. I would hold it up.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. You can see it there.
Minimal depth on that. It's as thick as the stencil, but it doesn't take much. And I think that's what's so amazing about this texture medium or make it thick medium It's so very workable, and it doesn't take much. So it's not like you're going to go through tons of product. To make this stand out, obviously you cannot see it well now. I'm going to use another new product that DecoArt came out with. It's called Make It Stain. Now I can use the wood stain. They have a gel wood stain, which would work beautifully. But with the Make It Stain, I can use any color of paint that I want. And this is super easy. I don't have to count. This is a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'll put a little bit of the Make It Stain. And this is raw sienna. Okay, you don't need it to be like precisely exact measurement. Just eyeball it. It's pretty close. And I'll mix it together. And this is going to create a beautiful gel stain. It still has a little bit of thickness to it. But what this Make It Stain does, it makes the paint transparent so that it's not an opaque, heavy coverage. And I'm just going to take my oval wash and I'm going to brush over. Look at that. The design's starting to really come in. And you can see how transparent it is. This is going to not only make that stain, but it's going to change the color of the birdhouse, make it more of an amber. And I'm just going to lightly go over that. And it's going to leave that stain around, heavier around that texture. Now, I wiped that off pretty heavy over here, so I can just go back, add a little bit more.
So while you're doing that, Bonnie asked, do these items change the drying time of the paint? So with the Make It Stain, I know that it dries faster than a normal stain does. Do you find it dries faster than paint?
About the same, yeah.
Now the Make It Thick, what about the Make It Thick, Chris?
It definitely, it's anytime you're working with a thicker medium, it's going to take longer for that thickness to dry. So let me just give this a quick dry here. Because what's going to happen, this top layer is going to be fairly dry to the touch, but down deep underneath, it's going to take a little bit longer. So if I were to put the stain directly over it, it might peel that top layer off. And so make sure you let it dry well.
So with the stain, do you add water to your brush with the stain?
I dampened my brush with water before I began, but then I laid it on my paper towel to draw out that excess. If it's too wet or too soupy, you're not going to get much of a, it will thin down the saturation of the paint. So it won't be as strong as. Now, if it's too heavy and you're not real crazy about the...
There is a request to put something under the birdhouse because it's blending into the background too much.
Okay.
What about like a, yeah, that works. There you go.
Okay. So I can go back with a baby wipe and I can just lightly go over that. And it's pulling that excess off and basically evening up that stain. So now that I have that on there, I'm going to jump around a little bit. This is the base, and I'm going to move the whole thing over because I think that shows well.
I'll let you know.
Okay, this is the base, and I'm going to take, since I have this raw sienna stain mixed up, I am going to thin it down just a little bit with moisture. I'm using my incredible comb. I'm going to create some wood grain. And I'm going to start at the outer edge and pull it across. And just a little more moisture on my brush. and just pull it across. There we go. Don't want to get it too solid. Now, I'm not going to start in the middle and bring it back. I'm going to turn it around and start from the other side. Should probably mix a little more up. But see how that blends it together in the middle. I have no stop and start lines. And I will tell you, I love the way this base turned out. But after I put everything together, I don't think you can see a bit of it. So this is just another technique we're going to throw in here. So now I have that raw sienna wood grain across the base. And I'm going to set that aside. This is the larger birdhouse that I went ahead and prepped earlier. I want this to stand out even more, so I'm going to increase the intensity of the stain, and I'm going to go with burnt umber. Oops.
Well, that's not good.
No.
It's invisible.
I pulled this off the shelf. My burnt umber that I brought from home was like really down to nothing. So let me give this a good shake. What happens with the Make It stain? It's going to, when you put water with paint to thin it down, it breaks down the paint and spreads it out. And as it dries, it just is what it is. With the Make It stain, it keeps those particles bonded together. So as it dries, you get more of a continuity, more of a saturation, more of a color impact. Okay. And I did do just a little bit more because I ran out with the raw sienna. Does that look about even?
No.
Now?
Better.
Okay. Again, I'm just going to take my palette knife, mix these together. You will see a huge difference because of the intensity of the color.
While she's mixing, this is the stencil that she used. I put it up on the screen in the kit. It does not come in the bundle. Chris suggests any stencil, any beautiful stencil would work on this. We chose not to put this in the bundle. So
yeah, this is more about the technique. Take a look at your stash. I know you all have a nice
flourishes would look good, even florals.
And you don't have to use like a whole stencil. You can use portions of a stencil. All right, so I have my brushes damp, but it's not drippy wet. I'm going to load it with this burnt umber stain. And I'm just going to go back and forth. I want this to be heavier around the design. And I did find out if I let it set for just a minute and don't immediately wipe it off, I get a better thickness around the stencil. I'm going to use a dry paper towel, and I'm just going to lightly go over that. And you can see, oh my goodness, how beautiful is that? And down here, I want this to blend out softly so I could scrub it a little bit heavier. But look at that beautiful design. And I can just keep going over that. I'm not too worried about the roof. But look how that just really makes that pop. I am scrubbing the bottom a little bit heavier because I want it to be a little bit brighter. I can even go back with the baby wipe and brighten that up even more if I think it's becoming too dark. This is so very workable. And the more I played around with it, it was like the more of a wow factor that I was able to achieve. And just because I have that stain right there, just going to go ahead and paint this roof. So not only can you use it as a stain, I'm going to go right over that design. I can go in and use it as a wash base coat. And this stencil wasn't perfectly even. And by that, I mean it does not fit exactly up in the point, but that ended up not being even a factor. It's just all about the design and that beautiful finished look that we achieve. So we went from the raw sienna stain, went to the burnt umber, and that's really popping out. I can probably go over this. I'm just going to take my finger, lightly touch over that, and I can brighten that raised area. I don't want to press hard because I don't want to pull that contrast away from the design. But see how workable this is. It's really starting to become a lot more prominent, and it looks so amazing. And I'm just going back and forth over that. Love it, absolutely love it. Okay, wow. I'm going to go back to the base on this. Jumping back and forth, but while I've got that burnt umber stain, I'm going to add just a little bit more wood grain on this. I hope I have enough here. Adding a little more wood grain on this base. And when I load my incredible comb, what you see is what you get. Can you see the splits in the bristles? That's exactly what I want. If I press down, it's going to be solid. And I spin my brush a little bit on the palette. This is a tough little brush. It's fine. You're not going to hurt it. I'm just going to pull it across. I do need more paint. Okay, Lindsay, I have burnt umber and I've lost it. There it is. How can you sit in one spot and lose a bottle of paint? And I am going to mix a little more stain in there, or make it stain. This is so easy to mix up. Only takes just a minute. But I want this wood grain on the base to be very visible. And load that brush up. Work that paint into the bristles. Make sure it's not overloaded. If it's overloaded and those bristles are nice and tight, you're not going to get much wood grain. And I'm just looking and lightly pulling across. I overloaded my brush, so I'm just cleaning it and reloading it. What you see is what you get. So if it is too strong, okay. Adding a little bit moisture. When your brush drags, you don't have enough moisture. Even with a stain, you need it to pull across nice and smoothly. And I'm starting at the side, pulling it across. Keep that brush nice and flowing. If it wiggles a little bit, that just looks like more wood grain. Keep adding that on until it's nice and you have that nice color across. This is so pretty. And adding these different colors to create that wood grain is just beautiful. And just not lightly pulling it across. It looks like it glows from dark to light, just almost like an actual wood. Isn't that pretty? Just a beautiful way to create the look of wood very, very easily. This naked stain makes it easy. Okay, so we went from raw sienna to burnt umber. Now I'm going to ramp it up even more. And this is the third birdhouse. And don't ask me why I did them in that order. I just did. And I'm going to go with raw umber, which is a deeper, earthier, dark brown. Okay, this is raw umber.
The ancient bottle of raw umber.
It is.
Notice by the label.
My favorite brown was charcoal gray, and that was discontinued. But then I found out that the raw umber is like almost identical to the charcoal gray. So I'm happy. Whenever they discontinue a color, there's probably an option that's available. And I really put a lot of paint on there. Make it stain. Just going to mix this in. I'm not going to take all of that because I put way too much paint. This burnt umber is a little more of a reddish brown. The raw sienna is a golden brown. Burnt umber has a hint of green in it. So it's a little earthier, a little more rustic, a little bit, I want to say, more primitive. So I am letting my brush with this raw umber, and you can see how dark this is. And I'm just going to pull it down that stenciled area. And I'm going back and forth because I want it to snug up against that raised area. And take my paper towel and just go up and down over that and see how it really enhances those raised areas when it snugs against that design. How beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. Just going in with a baby wipe now, just to soften that a little bit more. And where it's blended into the birdhouse, I can just move it around, make it very, very subtle and very impressive. Look how that, it really glows. But I really want to make this pop a little bit more. And I know there's several steps in this, but oh my goodness, the end results are so amazing. Make sure that is dry. And you can see why I was unable to have enough time to make sure everything was dry before I went to the next step. This is the raw umber, and I'm going to pull it underneath the roof line, add a little bit of shading just to create that contrast. A little more moisture on my brush. Move that paint around. Sharpen that roof line up just a little bit. One thing nice about painting rustic or primitive projects is they don't have to be immaculately perfect. However, that's just my preference. If you want it a little more elegant and a little more refined, then just hone back on this darker shading. So I'm going to go in with my palette knife and just, I'm going into the raw umber, just have a hint on the back of my brush. And I need to dry this up just a little bit more. This is my favorite way to add texture. And I'm telling you what, you're not able to get texture like this with a brush. Just going to keep it flat on the surface and kind of pull it up and down. And add just that hint of a little bit of grunge. Not too much, just a little bit. And We'll leave it there. But I wanted my birdhouse not to be dark. I wanted to brighten it up. So I thought, oh my goodness, I can go in with some snow white, warm white, any white would work. And I'm going to use that same palette knife technique. Can you get, is my palette on there, Lindsay?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, we'll go this way.
There you go.
Pulling out just a hint of that, and I'm really getting just a hint of it on my palette knife. Watch what happens. Look how that starts to pull that design out. I always start very shy, and I get a little braver as I add more. Look how that design starts to evolve. Now it went from dull and dreary to impressive and elegant. I think anytime you add brighten up an element, it just brings it to life. Oh my goodness, look at that. It just looks like it was hand carved into that birdhouse. Be patient. Don't try to overdo or go fast. You just want that hint of color to lightly skim over the raised surface of that design. And what's so very cool about it, when you use your palette knife to pull that thickness over the stencil, it doesn't make it perfectly even. So you end up getting this almost like a Venetian plaster effect. And I can add as much or as little as I want. I could wait until I'm finished and see if I need to add more all over. Is that not gorgeous? Think about different color families to highlight this. I think black would be stunning. Look how that just pulls that color out and makes it absolutely gorgeous. Now I can go back with my angle, pick up just a little bit of that raw umber, and I can shade the bottom of the roof just to bring a little more depth in there. Although I have another technique that we're going to use for the roof. And I can highlight the top edge with a little bit of bleached sand, or I can do our next step. I'm going to let this dry for a moment, go back to the base, and it probably does blend in, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Still sticking with that raw umber and my 1/2-inch angle. I'm going to pull it around the outer edge, and there's little planks on here. And I'm just thinning this down with water. I'd like that paint to be loose enough that I can move it around, create that division between each of these boards. And I'm shading both sides. So if you weren't real happy with your wood grain, by the time the shading is added, gosh, it's going to look amazing. A little bit heavy on that, so I'm just pulling some of it off. You can see how long I can work with the shading because I have it thinned down with water. It's very movable. I'm going to go around this outer edge. Just keep reloading and getting that color on the brush. Pulling it down this plank, and this goes very quickly. If you have enough moisture in your brush, just let that brush do all the work. let that water carry the paint. Yeah, it's thin enough that it's not covering up that wood grain. It's just deepening it. And my paint's starting to dry up a little bit here. Looks like I'm using my whole brush, but the color is just on probably a fourth of the brush on the toe. That way I can use this back half of the brush to blend it out. I can even go in and pull some little deeper lines to maybe, I'm a spinner, maybe enhance that look of wood grain. I mean, that is a good looking base that you'll never see, but this is a great technique to create that look of wood. Super easy. And that Make It Stain makes it really easy to add those colors and use whatever color you want to create that staining effect. Okay, so on this birdhouse, I decided I wanted a star, but I wanted it to look rustic. And I did this a few weeks ago. I created a star. And so I'm going to, I did not have a rusty star, but I wanted a rusty star. This is super easy. I'm going to take just any varnish. This is ultra matte varnish. Just going to coat that star. It's painted with raw sienna. Anytime you want a rusted surface, this is such a simple way to create that look. Good old cinnamon. I got this at the dollar store. This great
$1.25.
$1.25. Yeah, I couldn't believe how cheap it was. Just going to dump some cinnamon on there. And this will make your studio smell really good too. And I'm taking, ooh, that smells nice, that brush and working that. I need a little more varnish, and I don't want to dip my brush in the varnish. You don't want varnish in your clear, or you don't want cinnamon in the clear varnish.
Yeah.
Just going to pick up a little more of that varnish and work it in there, tap it on. Look how that creates, not only does it look like rust, but it creates that texture of rust. It deepens it. That cinnamon becomes a darker rustic color.
Now, do you find that the cinnamon is easy to get out of the brushes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it just, not a problem. And I'm just more or less tapping it down. I don't want it too, the texture too deep. Just want it to look like it's a nice aged cinnamon or rust. You see how pretty that is. Oh, and it does smell. Can you smell it, Lindsay?
Not over here, no.
And then I'll just take the excess cinnamon and just put it back into the jar. Okay, so now we have a little bird, which you probably can't see either.
Yeah, he needs to go on white.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I just did a wash of raw sienna over the little bird. And you know me, I like to anchor those little pieces down. This is the wing. I'm going in with burnt umber. I want him to, I really debated on the color of the bird, and you can use about any color, but I wanted him to show up but not be like the focal point, just part of the design. Keep this super simple. I'm using raw or burnt umber. Just going to shade around his, I need some fresh burnt umber. You can bump down to a smaller angle, but I like my 1/2 inch angle. Just going to go right around his little face, his tummy, up the back of his wings. Kind of create back of his tail feathers, I should say. Just create that look of a little bit of shading. Doesn't have to be a lot. And a little bit across the bottom of his beak. I was worried about whether his beak would show up, but after I put this shading on there, it really worked out well. Oops, we need to do his wing too. And this is why I anchor those little pieces down. So I can just put a little bit of shading across the bottom of that. I'll just give this a little bit of a quick dry. My shading kind of stopped a little bit. I'm just going to go back and pull those together. I wanted it to just flow into his tail feathers. This is a very simple bird, but I love how it turned out because it seemed to go with this whole design so easily. I'm going in with a little bit of raw umber. This is the deeper, darker brown. And this is where I can really set that beak off. This is the shading that is in the darkest areas. A little bit around his tummy, the back side of his tail feathers. I'm not covering everything, just deepening some of those darkest areas. Doesn't take much, just a little bit. And it really stands out nicely. Going in with my Snow White and my Epic Script Liner. Because the Birdhouse has those pops of white on it, this is going to really help make the bird pop without using a strong color. Just touching down, pulling across, and adding just a touch on his little beak. He needs an eye. Using soft black for the eye. And when I did the Birdhouse, the smallest one, I used soft black for the Birdhouse, the opening for the bird. This is a sweet little bird. Only takes a minute. I love the layered pieces because it allows you to work quickly and everything is perfect. Add that little bit of sparkle in the eye. And look at that little bird. That's a pretty little bird. So now we have all the pieces painted. And I wanted to get into the assembly a little bit.
Did you do the circle on the?
I did not. It's on the littlest Birdhouse. But
Okay.
to do the circle on the Birdhouse, I used the Painter's Pal. I guess we can put that on there. It's not. It doesn't have all the shading on it. But I just lined up where it should be. Using soft black. I like it to not be dark black. And start in, just add that little bit. 2 light coats is always better than 1 heavy coat. But look at that, it's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. I love tools that make us look good. The stencils are ideal. Mediums that add that extra wow factor. Just ramps it up to that next notch that makes everybody go, wow, that is so cool. Using cinnamon on that little star. So pretty. Okay, so when I wanted to put this together. Can you see this well?
Down.
Down, okay.
Down. Bring it towards you.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay, gotcha.
Now it's on camera.
Okay. I staggered the design so that it wasn't totally covered up. So the birdhouse, this middle birdhouse, I scooched the design over to the left, and then I alternated instead of having them all lined up perfectly. It's all about interest. And I also decided I did not want the birdhouses to be glued tightly together. Can you, I don't know.
You cannot, because
Okay.
it's dark.
I put, oh, can we go this way?
Tilt it. No. Kind of, you can see it in there.
Okay, there's spaces in between, maybe I can do this. There's spaces in between each birdhouse. And I've been telling everybody, I use leftover pieces or small shapes, and I just glued 2 of them together, and that's going to bump it out. But if you don't have these pieces, I was telling everyone, you can use corrugated cardboard. So on this piece, I decided to try corrugated cardboard. I cut a little rectangle, probably about 1 inch by 1.5 inches to put between each one. I had to stack 3 of them together to get the depth that I wanted to achieve. So that's also something that's optional. You can space them apart or you can put them closer together. But I was looking for that stability. So when I glued it onto the base, that it would have more of a platform to glue and to be a little more stable. And this thing is really solid, nice and solid. I did fill in, create a little bow. I used some burlap. I went with this color because it matched the raw sienna, a little bit of lace. This is torn homespun. This is jute, 1-ply jute, and I put a little button in the middle. Put my little star up here and then added a little button. And these are, it's a berry bush. I got this at Hobby Lobby. Huge, like a bunch of this. And I just used little teeny tiny pieces, stuck them all around to fill it in. And then I had the ugliest little white flowers that I bought at the dollar store. They were horrible.
I love how you call them ugliest little white.
They are. You know, I always thought, what in the world would I ever do with them? However, this is why you keep stuff. I stuck them in here. This is going back to that pop of white that pulls together, not only that white that's on the raised design, a little lace has the white, on the bird, the white, and adding just that little pop of white brightens it up. Even though this is a very dark, earthy color, I think it works out very, very well. And then I wanted, put this in here so it stays up a little. I wanted to add some actual branches on the roof line. And so I just went outside and got a stick. And it doesn't matter if it's perfectly straight. On the biggest birdhouse, I used the widest part of the stick. And this, I broke this in half because it was really awkward.
She's just bringing in all her yard waste.
Yeah. Go on a nature walk. But it was not wide enough to cover the roof line. So I just stuck a little one in there and stacked them together. I love it. I think this is just adds so much interest. If you have any areas that are visible, touch them up with the raw umber, and even went in after I glued it and touched up the glue. Just these little touches that pull it together and finish it.
Are you going to talk about the little birdie's nest?
Yes. Do we have time?
Yeah, it's 10:49.
Okay, the little bird nest. I have in my yard, I found, and I just thought this was so sweet, so precious. I found this little nest. I don't know what kind of bird made it.
Oh, that poor little bird. You took its home.
No, it was last fall. It was over with.
I was
Yeah.
like,
But I thought, gosh, that is so sweet. And it was like the right size for my little bird. But I didn't have the heart to use it and glue it. So I thought, I wonder if I can create a nest. So this is sisal grass. I don't know if you've ever worked with sisal grass. It's a very interesting kind of stuff here. And I just pull out, maybe I'm going to cut some out here. It was so easy. I hope I can do it as easily as I did the other one. This stuff is kind of gets everywhere, but it's the coolest stuff. You can almost mold it because it's a little bit wiry. Check this out.
so she's using her thumbs
Just molding
in
it.
the center, kind of like
Yeah.
if you were playing with dough.
Yeah, kind of
like-
cupping it around.
Yeah.
I've got way too much. This stuff is
That
so
stuff's
much
gonna
fun.
be all over the place.
Yeah, Lindsay.
Looks like a hummingbird nest, someone said. Do you have hummingbirds at your house?
We do have
That
hummingbirds.
might be right, because it's awful small for any other bird.
But I thought hummingbirds made like a solid nest. I don't know.
Let me Google.
Lindsay's trivia for today. So I'm just forming this, and whatever I don't want, I can just trim off. This stuff is sisal grass. It's the coolest stuff. Look at that little nest.
Yeah, hummingbird. Well, they're kind of all kinds of different ones.
So I've got this little nest, but it's the wrong color. But you know what? We have Make It Stain, and I'm going to go in with the burnt umber. I've got a little puddle left over here.
Your palette's off the screen.
Okay. And I'm just gonna basically dye it and make it wet. If you're not into crafty stuff, I make a horrible mess when I craft. But I thought this was kind of fun because it turned out really nice. Oh,
Nope.
I didn't
You just
say
jinxed yourself.
I didn't say it wasn't messy. I'm just saturating this with that Make It Stain. And I'm going to go back in, remold it. It's nice and wet. Create that little nest, and you're going, oh my gosh, your fingers are a mess.
Oh, come on.
Yes, it will. That's why I have baby wipes right here. So I've created this sweet little nest. And as it dries, it's going to firm up. But look at that. That's a pretty little nest, huh? After it dries, I'll go in and trim all these little wild ends off. But it looks kind of twiggy. And I think it really works. I think I made it a little bit bigger than I should have. But when I put the little bird in the nest, let me clean my fingers. It sank in too far. And I decided I needed something in the bottom of the nest to bump the bird up. I have moss.
So Kathy asked, where can you find the sisal grass? As Hobby Lobby and Michael's would
I
have
think
it.
anywhere, any craft store.
Probably in the floral section, I would think.
I don't know about like the dollar stores, but
I don't know
yeah.
the dollar store, but yeah, I would try Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It's most likely in the floral section where you would find like the mosses and things like that.
And this is fun to stick in like behind bows and just add a little bit of filler. Oh, this is just regular green moss, but it was way too green to match this. I wanted to tone it down, but I didn't want it to be the nest color. And I wanted to share this with you because we all have all these bottles of paint and all these great ideas, but you often don't have the right color of whatever you want. It's so easy. This is raw sienna. I just wanted this to be a little warmer instead of that bright green. And so I'm toning it down. And anytime you add brown to a bright color, it's going to tone it down, make it very, very more natural, earthy. I'm going to tone that down. And this turns it from that icky bright green, which in some cases is perfect, but it turns it into this beautiful, more natural mossy green. And that is just raw sienna added to this bright green. And they probably dye this, I would imagine, to be this bright green. But look how pretty that is. And now I can poke that into the nest. And it doesn't look like part of the nest, but it gives that little base. I can put my little bird in there, and it's going to really work well with the whole. This is still wet, so it's not. You can see that little bit of moss sticking out underneath. It just looks beautiful. I added a little bow on the bird, and I put a rusty tin Liberty Bell. This is about a 1/2 inch. I don't know that it needs it, but I thought it was cute. The problem was when I put it on, it matched the bird because it was a rusty bell. So I took my my 1/2 inch angle and I just dry brushed some of the bleach sand. Actually, I think it was Snow White on the bell to brighten it up and create that contrast. So this is all about contrast, adding colors that pop, helping these different elements to stand out, adding texture, shading, all these different techniques that we use in other areas of decorative painting can be combined to create something really unique and different. I had so much fun with this. It was almost like a playtime.
So back to the sisal or sisal or whatever you want to call it. They call it fiber, and it's sisal fiber. It's not coming up on Michael's or Hobby Lobby right now, but it's all over Amazon.
I ordered it on Amazon. Tell you what.
Is that what you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's multiples on Amazon. I knew we're as cheap as $11.99 a bag.
Word to the wise. I ordered I thought it was a small box. It came, it was like 1.5 by 1.5. I had a huge box of this stuff.
So there's like 0.44 pounds.
Yeah, it's hard.
For $11.99. So.
And it lasts forever.
But you want to type in fiber, not grass.
Okay.
Fiber.
And it can be tinted because it comes, I don't know if this is considered natural, but it can be tinted any color. And I'm thinking Halloween, scarecrows, witch's hair. I mean, there's so many different uses that you're going to see a lot of that. It's just another, I call these my fun elements to add that wow factor.
And they might have the fiber at the craft stores. It's just not showing on their website. So if you're at the Hobby Lobby or Michael's, check in the floral section because that's where it should be, I would think.
Yeah.
And
it probably is in where like Spanish moss and the other moss because it's that type of.
Hobby Lobby had a mixed bag of mosses and sisal or whatever you want to call it, sisal or whatever. They had a mixed bag, but they did not have a bag of just that. But if you're in there, just check in the floral section, so wait till it's 40% off.
So I hope that you give some of these techniques a try. And if you do, post us a picture. We would love to see it. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget to sign up or follow and subscribe to the channel because we do this pretty much every week. Next week, I will be on vacation.
She will be on the water.
Yes. So I do have a video that I'm going to be releasing next week. I won't be live, but we'll still have a video. But this is, I was excited to share this, and I was really nervous about all the different techniques because there is a plethora of techniques in this that I really think they all work together beautifully. So let me know what you think. If you have comments on this, if this is not your cup of tea, you came, you watched it. Even if you take away one or two of these techniques, I think you're going to have so much fun with them.
And the Make It Stain and Make It Thick are part of the Decor Editions line, which is available on our website.
Yes.
And I will put the link in the chat. There's also the marker makers in there as well. There's 3 items in the Editions line. This is a new line that Decor came out with, I think, late last year.
Yeah, I don't think you'll go wrong. And anytime that we can use different products to work with our paints to make them a little more versatile is like opening a whole new door up into creativity. So I hope it spurs your imagination and encourages you to be a little adventurous and create something really fun.
So theoretically, I say theoretically, we will be back on June 30th at 10 a.m. Eastern time with our next live.
Yes.
I always say theoretically, but if we delay, of course, we will announce that on Facebook. I mean, if Chris decides not to come back from the lake, I mean, that would be the reason we don't. She stays down there. But other than that, let me flip the camera.
Okay, well, thank you again for joining us today. And it was a lot of information, a lot of techniques, a lot of fun. I hope you gleaned something from this and let us know what you think. Okay, well, next week I will be off on vacation, but I look forward to our next penny adventure together. And remember, a little bit of paint makes a big difference. Bye-bye.